Thursday afternoon settled over East League University with a quiet rhythm that came after the busiest lectures. Students drifted through the academic buildings, some in groups, some alone. Gloria walked through the humanities corridor with her phone in one hand. A message from Celine filled the screen. "Don't forget to buy snacks on your way back." Gloria smiled to herself and typed a quick reply. She slipped the phone into her jacket pocket without waiting for an answer. Something collided with her leg. The impact was small, but unexpected enough that she stopped immediately. A little boy stumbled backward, blinking up at her with wide eyes. A box of colored pencils slipped from his hands and scattered across the polished floor. "Oh." Gloria crouched before he could say anything. "Are you okay?" The boy looked at his scraped palm for a second before nodding.
"I'm okay."
"You sure?" Gloria asked gently. He nodded again, this time more confidently. "I'm sorry, I wasn't looking." "Neither was I." She smiled. "Looks like we're even." She began gathering the colored pencils while the boy knelt beside her to help. Before either of them finished, a calm voice called from farther down the hallway. "Alec." The boy's head turned instantly. "Mom." A woman approached with measured steps. She wore a long black blazer over neatly tailored clothes that somehow looked effortless instead of formal. Her posture was straight, her expression composed, and her sharp features gave her an intimidating elegance Gloria recognized almost immediately. Professor Lucille. Gloria had seen her around campus once or twice before. Mostly from a distance. People always seemed to lower their voices whenever she walked past. Lucille stopped beside them. "I'm sorry," she said, looking at Gloria first before turning to her son. "Did you run ahead again?" Alec lowered his head. "Yes." Lucille rested a hand lightly on his shoulder. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience." "It's all right," Gloria said, handing Alec the last colored pencil. "No one got hurt." Alec accepted it with a shy smile. "Thank you." Lucille met Gloria's eyes. "I'm sorry for the trouble." Something about her voice caught Gloria off guard. She had expected it to sound as distant as the rumors suggested. Instead, it was quiet and patient. Not warm, just softer than she'd imagined. The difference became even clearer when Lucille looked back at Alec. "Did you remember everything?" Alec held up the pencil box proudly. "I think so." Lucille checked it anyway before closing the lid. "Good." The brief exchange lasted only a few seconds, but Gloria noticed how naturally Lucille's guarded expression eased whenever she spoke to her son. It disappeared again the moment she looked away from him. Gloria found herself smiling without realizing it. "Is something amusing?" Gloria laughed softly. "I just wasn't expecting." She hesitated. "I've only ever seen you around campus. And I guess I imagined you'd be." Gloria rubbed the back of her neck. "You'd be more terrifying." For a heartbeat, Lucille simply looked at her. Then the corner of her mouth slightly lifted. "I'll try harder next time." The answer was so unexpected that Gloria laughed. Alec looked between them. "My mom isn't scary." Lucille glanced at him. "Thank you, Alec," Lucille said as Alec smiled. Gloria couldn't help laughing again. The sound echoed lightly through the hallway before fading into the chatter of passing students. Lucille's phone vibrated. She checked the screen, and the hint of amusement left her face. "I'm sorry." She answered immediately. She listened for several moments without interrupting. "I'll be there." The call ended. Lucille remained still, her attention lingering on the dark screen for a second before she looked at Alec. A trace of conflict crossed her face. Almost at the same time, Alec tugged gently on her sleeve. Mom. Lucille let out a slow breath. I've been trying to find someone reliable to watch Alec occasionally. She spoke more to herself than to Gloria. It has been more difficult than I expected. The words escaped Gloria before she had time to think them through. I could help. Lucille looked at her. You. My schedule isn't very packed this semester. Gloria shrugged. I'm a law student, but most afternoons are free. I'm Gloria, by the way. Silence settled between them. Gloria suddenly became aware of how strange her offer sounded. They didn't know each other. Lucille's expression confirmed exactly what Gloria was thinking. Thank you for offering, Lucille said politely. But I'm not sure that's something I can decide so quickly. That's fair. Gloria smiled anyway, hoping to ease the awkwardness. I probably sounded a little random. Before Lucille could answer, her phone rang again. She closed her eyes briefly. When she answered, her voice became all business. I'll be there in 5 minutes. The call ended much sooner this time.
Lucille looked from the phone to Alec.
Then to Gloria. She hesitated. I have an emergency faculty meeting. It shouldn't take more than an hour. Lucille looked almost uncomfortable asking. Would you be willing to stay with Alec until then? She added quickly, I'd rather you remain in my office. I won't be far. Gloria nodded before she could overthink it. Of course. Relief flickered across Lucille's face so briefly. She crouched beside Alec. You'll stay with Gloria while I finish my meeting? Okay. Alec accepted the news without complaint. Lucille stood again. For reasons Gloria couldn't explain, she found herself looking at Lucille once more as the three of them started walking toward the faculty offices. She had planned to head home immediately. Instead, she was following one of the university's most intimidating professors down the hallway while holding a 6-year-old's box of colored pencils. Life had a strange sense of timing. Lucille's office overlooked one of the quieter courtyards on campus. The afternoon light filtered through tall windows, falling across overflowing bookshelves and neat stacks of papers that covered half the desk. You can both stay here. I'll be in the conference room across the building. She knelt in front of Alec and adjusted the collar of his sweater. If you need anything, Mrs. Evans is in the office next door. Alec nodded. Lucille looked at Gloria. I'm trusting you with something very important. Gloria smiled. I'll make sure he doesn't escape. Alec giggled. I don't escape. You ran into me 5 minutes ago. That wasn't escaping. Lucille watched the exchange. She wasn't used to seeing Alec relax around strangers so quickly. Most babysitters spent the first hour trying to win him over. Gloria had somehow managed it in minutes. I'll be back as soon as I can, Lucille said. When the door closed behind her, the office became noticeably quieter. For a moment, neither Gloria nor Alec spoke. Then Alec wandered toward a small table near the window. Do you draw? Gloria asked. He nodded enthusiastically. Every day. What do you draw? Everything. He opened a sketchbook that was already half full. The first page held a crooked castle. The next, a cat with oversized ears. Each drawing was simple, but every page was filled with bright colors. Gloria crouched beside him. These are really good. I know. Gloria blinked, then laughed. I like your confidence. My mom says I shouldn't say they're bad if I have worked hard for them. Your mom sounds smart. Alec looked up at her. She writes books. The scary ones? Gloria asked teasingly. I don't read them. They are complicated, Alec said, handing her a blank sheet. You draw. I'm bad at drawing. She accepted the pencil anyway. After a moment's thought, she sketched an uneven dog with floppy ears. Alec stared at it, then bursted into laughter. Is it a dog? I hoped it was obvious. It looks tired.
It probably is.
Together they added a sun, grass, and a tree behind the exhausted-looking dog until the page looked intentionally silly instead of accidentally bad. The hour passed more quickly than Gloria expected. They drew, played guessing games. Read a picture book that Alec insisted she perform with different voices. A knock sounded at the door, and Lucille stepped inside. Her eyes immediately searched the room. She found Alec sitting cross-legged on the carpet, proudly showing Gloria another drawing. Neither of them had noticed she was back. A quiet breath escaped her. The office looked exactly as she'd left it. Lively even. Alec spotted her first. Mom. He hurried over, holding up the latest drawing. Look. Lucille took it carefully. It showed 3 figures standing beneath a bright blue sky. Lucille looked from the drawing to Gloria. You've been busy. I've mostly been admiring Alec's artwork.
He drew the people.
And I drew the world's most tired dog. Alec laughed. It still looks tired. For the first time since Gloria had met her, Lucille laughed. The sound was quiet and brief, but genuine. It disappeared almost as quickly as it came. Lucille reached into her handbag and took out several folded bills. Oh, you don't have to. You offered to help. That doesn't mean your time isn't valuable. Gloria accepted the money after a short pause. Thank you. Lucille walked her toward the hallway. I appreciate what you did today. It wasn't difficult. No, Lucille said, looking briefly toward Alec. Apparently it wasn't. Alec slipped his hand into his mother's. Can Gloria come again? Lucille glanced at Gloria before answering. I'll think about it. The answer sounded reserved, but Gloria noticed she hadn't said no. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a small notebook. If you ever do need someone. She tore out a page, wrote down her number, and handed it to Lucille. My schedule is pretty flexible. Lucille accepted the paper without looking at it immediately. Thank you. Gloria smiled at Alec. See you around. I'll draw a better dog next time. As Gloria walked down the hallway toward the exit, she found herself smiling. She had expected to spend an hour watching a stranger's child. Instead, she'd met a cheerful 6-year-old who loved drawing and a woman who, despite all the whispers about her, tucked her son's collar straight before every meeting and laughed more softly than anyone Gloria had ever met. Behind her, Lucille stood where Gloria had left her. She unfolded the small piece of paper. Gloria. A phone number followed beneath the name. Lucille read it once, then folded the paper again and slipped it into her blazer pocket before taking Alec's hand. Ready to go home? Alec nodded. Can Gloria babysit me again? Lucille looked ahead as they walked toward the parking lot. I don't know. She had intended the answer for Alec. Instead, it lingered in her own mind all the way to the car. Friday slipped by without another encounter. Gloria attended her morning lectures, argued through a mock case in constitutional law, and spent the afternoon in the library pretending to read a chapter she would have to start over later. By the time she returned to the apartment she shared with Celine, the sky outside had darkened into a cool blue. The smell of fried onions drifted from somewhere down the hallway. Gloria dropped her backpack beside the couch and changed into comfortable clothes before sitting with her laptop. She hesitated only a moment before opening a browser. Professor Lucille. Several results appeared almost immediately. The university profile came first. Professor Lucille Hart, Department of Literature, novelist, researcher. Below that were interviews, articles, and a list of published novels. Gloria blinked. She's written all of these? She clicked on the first title. Then another. Most of them belonged to the romance section. That surprised her. She remembered the composed woman in the black blazer who chose every word carefully and rarely smiled. She didn't seem like someone who would spend years writing about love. Curiosity got the better of her. Gloria opened an interview. The interviewer had asked where her stories came from. Lucille's answer was short. People are complicated. Love only makes them more honest. Gloria read the sentence twice. She had loved fiction since she was young. Not because the stories promised perfect endings. Because they let people become vulnerable in ways real life rarely allowed. She wanted that someday. Not the perfect romance people talked about. Just someone she could choose every day and who would choose her back. The thought lingered longer than she wanted. Once before, she had believed she'd found something close. Instead, she'd spent months learning that wanting someone didn't mean they could ever belong in your life. Since then, she had become careful. The apartment door opened. Celine dropped her tote bag by the entrance and walked over, curiosity already written across her face. What are you doing? Gloria turned the laptop slightly. I'm looking someone up. Celine looked at the screen. Professor Lucille? You know her? I'm a literature student, remember? Celine laughed as she sat beside her. Gloria closed the article halfway. I met her yesterday. Celine raised an eyebrow and Gloria told her everything about their encounter. When she finished, Celine smiled and said, I wouldn't spend too much time waiting for a call. Gloria looked away from the screen. I wasn't. You were. Gloria sighed. Maybe a little. I've heard she's very private, so if she doesn't call, don't take it personally. Gloria nodded. I won't. Even as she said it, she couldn't stop wondering whether Lucille had already decided against hiring her. Her phone buzzed across the coffee table. It was an unknown number with a straight-to-the-point message. If you're still interested in babysitting Alec, please come to this address tomorrow at 9 in the morning. An address followed beneath. Celine leaned closer. Is that? Gloria nodded slowly. Lucille. For the first time that evening, a smile spread across her face without her realizing it. Celine watched her for a moment before shaking her head with quiet amusement. I honestly didn't think she'd text. Neither did I. Gloria looked at the address again. She didn't recognize the street. Whatever she had expected after yesterday, it wasn't this. She typed a simple reply. I'll be there. Thank you. The response came less than a minute later. See you tomorrow. Nothing more. Somehow, that made Gloria's smile even wider. Saturday morning arrived bright and clear. The address Lucille had sent led Gloria away from the busy streets surrounding East League University and into one of the quietest neighborhoods in the city. The houses became larger the farther she walked until iron gates and tall hedges replaced the apartment buildings she was used to passing. She stopped in front of the address one more time. A mansion stood beyond the gates. You're kidding. For a second, she wondered if she had copied the address incorrectly. She checked her phone. No, this was it. After speaking to the security guard, the gates opened, and she followed a stone path toward the house. A fountain trickled softly in the front garden while trimmed hedges lined the walkway. Someone had clearly spent years caring for the place. A maid welcomed her inside before leading her through a spacious entrance hall. The house was elegant without feeling crowded. Shelves filled with books stood between framed paintings, and sunlight reached through tall windows, warming the polished wooden floors. The maid stopped outside a sitting room. Miss Lucille is waiting for you. Gloria thanked her before stepping inside. Lucille looked up from fastening the button of her black blazer. She looked ready to leave. You found the place. I almost convinced myself I'd typed the wrong address. Lucille followed Gloria's glance around the room. You have a beautiful house. Thank you. I'm leaving for work shortly, and as if on cue, quick footsteps echoed through the hallway. Gloria. Alec hurried into the room and threw his arms around her before stopping himself halfway. He looked toward his mother. Can I? Lucille nodded. You don't need permission to greet people, Alec. Alec hugged Gloria properly this time. She smiled as she ruffled his hair. I see you've been practicing your running. I didn't bump into anyone. That's nice. Lucille watched the exchange quietly. Alec rarely became attached to people this quickly. She wasn't sure why Gloria was different. A maid will show you around the house later, Lucille said. For now, you'll mostly be in the living room or the garden if Alec wants to play outside. Gloria listened carefully. Lucille continued, He isn't a difficult child. If he's drawing, you'll barely know he's there. She hesitated before adding, If anything happens, call me. I will. Lucille studied Gloria for a brief moment. She still knew very little about the young woman standing in front of her. Yet Alec trusted her. For reasons she couldn't fully explain, that mattered more.